When starting out the process brief, I was really unsure as to what I was going to do, or even where I was going to take my work. I got stuck into researching and found myself with a couple of small ideas. Stop motion was the main idea though, in which I wanted to focus on, because I felt that this was something I've always needed to improve on within the past. Since I got the word brown teapot, I decided I'd make a stop motion mock-up. I didn't really have any storyline or indication as to what it was that I was going to do within the stop motion. I just knew there'd be a teapot involved, and Play-Doh. It's more of the case of seeing where the idea took me, and then just creating and exploring from here. I made a mock-up of the first stop motion, but it felt as though the whole thing was missing something. I decided I'd attempt another stop motion, and this time make it a little longer, and perhaps a little different than the last. But if I'm honest, the video made no sense and didn't really have much to it. I wanted to move on from this, but I needed a new idea. I decided I'd move on from the teapot idea for a while and look into the book I was given. The book was Criminological Theories, and is focused around the views of why criminals do what they do. From here I knew I wanted the next piece to link to crime, but not in any obvious way. I wanted it to be a different view. I read through bits of the book, and I wanted to make a film based around crime, but not so much crime, but the effects it has on victims and criminals. I wanted to make the video feel dark, because I think this is what I was trying to do within the stop motion, but I couldn't really find a way of making it work. I put together a short film and was pleased with the outcome. I found it interesting using transitions and effects, because I didn't think it would be as hard as it was to begin with. I enjoyed learning new skills in Final Cut and throughout making the film. I would also take breaks and take some photographs in between to work on later. After making the short film, I was looking through the effects, and I decided I'd start experimenting with images and layering them in Photoshop. I liked this technique, but found that it sometimes did not go the way you'd like. I went on to looking at photographs I'd taken. I loved the light within them, and it was then I decided that I'd look more at light. I noticed how I'd already used light a lot within a couple of the pieces I'd done already, and so I decided I would carry this on, but using it more as the main focus to my work at this point. I started to ask myself how I could use light in a unique way. I went back to remembering the layering and adding of effects to the images I did within Photoshop, and I decided to layer my images and sketches over light itself. I loved this effect and I would use it again. I'm experimenting in so many different ways, and my next experiment is going to be layering videos, using light and video in architecture. I know that I need to be more free when creating, and not create these guidelines within my head that restrict me from being able to experiment and explore different medias and various techniques of working.